when I start talking, yes. Welcome. Can everyone hear themselves in the mic? I have the speakers on. Can you hear yourselves?
I can hear you.
When you talk, so you can hear yourselves. That way you know.
I cannot hear myself.
Okay, that's probably because of the mask.
Okay.
Miss Olive, how are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Can you move your mic a little bit closer?
Certainly.
A little bit?
Project like you're yelling.
Like this?
Yes, that's great. You sound good.
That's good?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we're
Can you hear me?
Pete, how you doing over here?
I can hear me talk, but I can't hear any,
You can hear me well?
Yeah, I hear you fine.
Okay, wonderful. As long as you hear me, we're good to go. Can you hear you?
Yeah, no, but that's fine. I don't hear me echoing in the speakers. You can ask the young lady if she hears me in the speakers.
You know what? We can go on our Facebook and share right now while we're doing that. Let's go ahead and share the feed.
We're live now, though.
And you'll be able to hear yourselves while we're talking. I know, we're live.
I don't have my phone with me.
That's not exciting. I don't want to hear myself. That's fine.
My phone is in my bag.
So we are live right now.
So, first of all, we're doing a little bit of a sound check. So let me welcome everybody back to Journeys from Lagos to Brooklyn. I'm Donnatella. Are we flashing to you, Bob, or you're not participating today?
I am participating. What do you mean I'm not participating?
I don't know. We have something new going on. We have our lovely guest, Miss Olive Taylor, with us. Hi. And one of the usual suspects, Peter Gordon at the end. So before we start today's show, I just want to say, I want you to remember that we are filming live, streaming live from Amarachi on the Manhattan Bridge. And, because we're kind of
on the Manhattan Bridge?
Are we on the Manhattan Bridge?
No, you're close by to the Manhattan.
That's hot.
That's not the Manhattan Bridge right there?
On the bridge.
That's on it for me. It's on it for me. If you stand on it, you'll be looking right at it. But today you're gonna have some extra challenges because we're doing a lot of things.
A lot is going on. We're trying to get the heat system going, so make sure everybody's wonderfully comfortable this weekend. So you may hear a little squeal. That's just a little screwdriver working.
And we've got
holes.
One
It's supposed to be a little chilly this weekend?
Well, you don't want to wait until it gets cold. You want to kind of make sure it's it's in there before.
Right, because I'm pretty sure people will be trying to fight for that 25% of the inside dining.
It's crazy right now. It's crazy. If you're interested in coming down actually and being inside, please call early. Make your reservations because space is limited.
I see we got a special guest star, Hollywood Butter, in the audience. What's up, my friend? So this is exciting. So I think.
So Miss Olive, right? That camera would be the best one for you to look into.
This one right here?
No, the other one. The one.
This one over to the left.
Okay.
There you go.
So each week we kind of change up our setup a bit. And so I like to start the show. And normally we have some libations, but I was a little late getting here. I'm the one that really makes sure that we have a little food and something to drink. So Miss Olive. Yes. Who told you to look at the camera? You don't have to stare at it now. We're just going to jump all around. But I'd like you to kind of introduce yourself to our audience. Who is Miss Olive Taylor?
Hi. I don't really talk like this.
That's fine.
My name is Olive Taylor. I'm a native of Brooklyn, New York.
Okay.
I am a forensic social worker by trade / turned entrepreneur. I have 2 flourishing businesses. I have Where's My Cake, which is custom baked confections. Mm-hmm. I also have my second flourishing business, Akua Creations Wearable Art, featuring headwraps and masks. As such, I'm wearing.
Oh, nice.
As well as jewelry.
Oh, customized jewelry?
Yes. Yes.
So let's back up because
I'm wearing some of my jewelry.
Oh, earrings as well. So I want to make Peter a little jealous because I know that most recently we had a celebration of life for Jonathan, who is one of the owners of Amarachi, who passed earlier this year. And I happen to know that you prepared the beautiful cake in his honor for that event.
Yes,
correct?
The memorial cake.
Memorial cake. It was very, 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 very good.
Thank you. I'm happy I was able to decorate it without watering down the
icing.
It was when I was asked to do the cake and they put in the order and everything, I was very excited to do it. As I began to work with it, work on the cake and everything, I had a few challenges.
Really?
And as far as making, these are like baker's things. Mm-hmm. These are things that always happen when you're making. It's just that one cake,
right? And especially that one because I imagine there's so much heart and love being put into it.
Jonathan, the cake was special to me because Jonathan is was one of my biggest supporters.
Right.
And when I first started making cake at the old Amarachi, a number of cakes that I make originated sitting on Franklin Avenue in Amarachi, right, Bob?
Absolutely.
That's like the Bailey's cake.
The Bailey's cake that brings back amazing memories. Like that was the talk of like the year. The year you dropped that Bailey's cake.
And no, I didn't even like it. Really? I didn't like it because I was baking it. It was 95 degrees. Wow. And the frosting kept sliding off the cake.
Because it was 95 degrees.
I looked in the refrigerator and I'm like, what I got? I had some grated coconut. I slapped that on it and threw it in the freezer.
Oh, okay.
And then I took it out, frosted it some more, slapped on some more coconut, threw it in the freezer. Cut it up, came down to the club. And had cut it up, gave it out to everybody. They were like, "Oh, this is great!" And oh, you got some more. So that was one. Another cake that I make that originated out of Amarachi is my Grand Marnier cake.
Yes.
Now I happen to know that the young man to your left is Grand Marnier one of your
Grand Marnier is my drink. Yes.
Okay.
The young man to your left.
Yes. Another young man to my right.
So what I'm learning as we go on each week is that Bob or Amarachi, Bob, whatever, has been kind of a springboard for several businesses and talents.
Yeah.
Well, I like to support my people, Peter.
And
I like to.
And Jonathan Ibaye Chodun, Jonathan would always encourage me. Every time I would walk through that door, get your portfolio ready because I want to feature your cake. Make sure you take pictures of everything you make.
Nice.
We don't have a baker, but anybody comes here and needs a cake, we calling you. And they kept their word.
Yeah.
When I was doing the cake, I was torn between the picture to put on the cake. There was a picture of Jonathan.
When you said it was very, very good, though. I like that.
He was sitting on. There's a story behind that picture.
Please tell us. Please tell it.
Yeah.
Please tell it.
It was
very moving.
So it was a picture cake that you did for the memorial?
Yes. I did a photo cake. You
Yeah,
didn't watch the commercial?
I did not.
Get him, Charlie.
We need to have a talk.
Listen, join the club. Everybody on that side wants to kill me anyways.
No, I love your mind. But you gotta, anyway, you're taking me off track.
We'll come back to it.
Conversation. So I'm doing this cake and I'm torn between these two pictures. One, Jonathan is sitting in a chair with an aruke.
And for those who don't know, like myself, what was the last word you said with that?
An aruke.
What is an aruke?
An aruke is an implement that's used. It's used for spiritual cleaning.
Okay.
And it's something that African royalty, you will see them with.
Okay.
Or those are descendants of African royalty. So he was sitting in the chair with the aruke, and I was like, "Oh, this is beautiful." But then there was another photo, and he was in white. He was in a red and white traditional African garb, and I couldn't decide. And then there was just a pull towards that one. So that's the one that I put on the cake. That's the one in the
picture with the aruke.
Yeah, no, the picture really has the all white.
All white.
That's the picture that's on the cake.
It happens to be the same picture that we used on his memorial.
And I didn't find that out until 24 hours later, because when I dropped off the cake and I was out. Mm-hmm. After I teased Shosho about her boyfriend, I was out.
And you had a tight pants that day. I teased as well.
Yes, he did. And so when I came the next day to relax and have some, and have some libation and fellowship with my people, Sam walks over to me. He says, "You did an excellent job on the cake. The cake was delicious. And you know what? It's good you picked that picture." That's the same picture we put on the memorial.
Well, you know what I found that day? So going back to how special that memorial was and building off of you talking about the cake, I was invited to come that day as well. No one told me that it was a color-coded event based on his fraternity, the Kappas, right? And I happened to have on red and white that day as well. So I think the fact that you picked the picture that was used on the memorial cake, that was also used in the memorial program, I believe that Jonathan is still kind of scared.
No, I don't think you understand. Jonathan could be overbearing, and Jonathan had a way of asking you to do things when he actually was telling you to do it.
You're lucky he told me.
Yeah, that cake was all Jonathan.
Yeah.
And I actually felt his presence.
I believe you.
When I finished, and I just looked at it, and I sent it to. I have my people who are like, tell me what you think about this, and I sent it to my god sister, and she was like, oh my God, you have outdone yourself, and it was all I could do to keep from crying, because preparing that cake, that brought back a lot of memories of John. You could come in and talk business with John. He'd be talking to you with a drink on the side. He'd be in his phone.
Yes.
And still be paying attention to everything that was going around. It might seem rude to some people, but he wasn't rude at all.
Nah, I think
Jonathan was a master at multitasking.
It's nice to hear someone say that.
Oh, yes.
So, Sister Olive, I wanted you to take us back to when you first really got into, because I saw you talked about the Rukera and other things about African spirituality, and you are dressed in a beautiful ensemble today. And my heart, I have a special place for everyone that embraces our heritage, our shared culture. At what point, when did it become a part of your life? The whole African spirituality and tradition. When did you really wake up and realize this is the path that you wanted to follow?
That happened, we're in 2020.
Yeah.
That happened about 13 years ago. Ironically, who's 13. And I had been interested in this journey for many years. For those of you that know me, I was raised in the Church of God in Christ. And, went through that whole thing, going to church 6-7 days a week. And as I became older and I began to question customs and traditions in the church, I never got answers. The turning point for me was when my mom became very ill, and the church that she had emotionally and financially supported for over 2 decades basically offered her no support and left her flat. That was kind of my I'm done. So I didn't go inside the church for 10 years. When I was in grad school, I was reintroduced to St. Paul Community Baptist Church through one of my field instructors who was a member. And what I quickly learned about St. Paul is they had an Afrocentric foundation. So that first year that I was a member, I participated in the commemoration of the Ma'afa. And I had several spiritual experiences during that time. And that's what eventually opened that gateway for me to comfortably transition into Yoruba Lukumi. I'm still on my journey. I have acquired some teachings and some lessons. And every day I'm walking and I'm learning more about myself. I'm learning to, focus, and so that every breath is like Baba John Mason says, a prayer. And Baba John Mason is one of the authors. He is a renowned Lukumi priest, and he's an author. He does teaching. What I find about this path is it helps me connect to my ancestors, and it's helped to make me a better person. One of the things that you learn is you learn about yourself.
Watch yourself.
Through the teachings that
and over the past I say over the past couple of years, I've learned a lot about myself. I don't always like myself, but I've learned.
Listen, you can continue.
I've learned that it's okay to not like yourself. It's okay to work through those things. Nobody is perfect. So the thing that I love about the path that I'm on is it's non-judgmental, and it allows me to continue to embrace some of the customs of my ancestors, like going to church. You know, sometimes my egg room, and that's ancestors.
Sometimes you're.
No, wait,
Say the word again.
egg room.
Egg room. And what is egg room again?
Those are our ancestors.
Ancestors. Okay.
Sometimes they'll kick me in the morning, get up and go to church, get up and go to the beach, get up and go do whatever. You know, interesting. I'm sitting here. We didn't anything. We weren't supposed to be talking about this, but that's okay.
No, that's fine.
This is egg room. This is even here being, egg room. This is part of my life that I've embraced.
Do me a favor, because what you're saying is very important and it's loud in here. So I want to make sure that you project yourself so that we can hear you. I think that's why Bob tried to move.
Which is funny
microphone.
because I have a very loud voice.
No, your voice is very strong. It's just it's a huge space.
Okay, so like I was saying, one of the things that I like about this work is it helps you to be a better person. And you learn yourself. You learn the good, the bad, and the ugly. And you learn that it's okay. It's okay to be who you are. It's okay to be this way because we're all works in progress. And no one is perfect.
So I have a question, being not informed about the religion that you're studying. And you say you started about 13 years ago. This
and
journey.
I'm still learning, and I'm not even an expert. I'm under the tutelage of seasoned people now, and I still don't know everything.
Well, my question was going to be, what is your hope? Is it to become a leader so that you teach others, or just a continuing betterment of yourself?
It's definitely a continuing betterment of self. I've become very humble in my journey because I've experienced things and life's just abundance of blessings that has to make me humble. There's so many different ways my life could have ended up. There's so many different places I could have been, but I'm here.
I think we all, if for no other reason than the losses we've seen and the struggles we've seen during the pandemic.
Absolutely.
I think everyone should have a better appreciation of self and those around them. But
yeah, and you know that everyone doesn't.
No, that's true. That's what makes us human, though, I think.
Yeah, and what I've learned throughout this temporary state that we're in is it's actually, opened up a space for me to even get to know me more. This is the space. If this is the time, if you need to work on yourself, if you need healing, if you need to take something a step further, if you have that idea, if you have that whatever it is, this is the time to do it.
It absolutely is, because almost everything that you can think of is available at your fingertips via the internet now in a way that it never was before. Whether it's continuing education, learning religion. I do have a question that I'm wondering, given Akua Creation and what they mean, was that business existing prior to the pandemic or no? So that's what I wanted to get to.
And this is what I'm talking about, abundance. This is what I'm talking about, opening up things and allowing yourself to be carried into certain things. This is my year of saying yes. I've walked away from things that do no longer fit me, no longer suit me. So I've walked away from things that no longer suit me, so I can pursue some things that I put off a few years ago. And some circumstances presented themselves now that really dictated, you need to put this down and this is what you need to focus on. And that Akua Creations was born out of necessity.
So my question, I want to go more into, for our listeners, I think a lot of people don't understand. I think the most used word, I can't remember right now if it's a verb or not, pivot or adjective, but I think it is the most common used phrase during the than 8 months. And so when I immediately looked at your Instagram, and for those of you who are watching online, Akua Creations is exactly the way it sounds. It's AKU Creations.
And what does that mean?
Creations.
Okay, so let me tell you about Akua. Akua is a Swahili word meaning she who was born on Wednesday.
Oh, were you born on Wednesday?
I was born on a Wednesday.
All right now.
And these are my creations. You know, if you look at the Anglo-Saxon poem where they talk about the children born on the days of the week, Wednesday's child is full of woe.
Okay.
Do you know I was born on Wednesday too?
Wednesday.
Oh, Jonathan?
I was born on a Wednesday.
Were you?
Yeah, he would be but
That's why he gives us so much wealth.
Huh? You need to leave my people alone. That's what you need to do.
Thank you, big sis.
Okay. But yeah, so Akua Creations, she who was born on Wednesday. And it actually was all by accident. I needed to go out, and this was right after we had been told we needed to wear masks after they've been ducking and dodging and, telling their tales.
Right.
So I needed to go out, and a couple of my colleagues were like, "Oh, I'll bring you some masks." But in the meantime, I needed to go to the post office. I needed to do something. And they were sold out online, sold out in the stores. I had some fabric around the house, and I actually made a mask, and I had a little more fabric, and I made a head wrap. I went out to the post office, took a little selfie in front of the post office, posted it on Facebook. And next thing I know, people, Peter was one of the first people to comment. He was like, "Queen, what you said?"
I don't know, but it was dope. And I saw it right away, and I was like,
"Oh, it was dope, not what you said."
Well, you know me.
You know what he said. But basically, he gave me a nice comment, and next thing I know, people are commenting, "Oh, you should make some up, or you should sell these." Mind you, I didn't have a sewing machine. This was something I was watching TV. And I said, let me get my needle and thread. Let me just sew this up.
Right.
And that was it. It was just like a basic, and it was fitted and everything. And I just, folded the head wrap into a square, and I wrapped my head up, and that was it. And next thing I know, people were blowing up my inbox. I hope you're gonna make some. And one of my girlfriends, Sonia McCrae, I hope you're watching. She kept blowing me up. Her and my cousin. They were like, "I hope you do this. I hope you do this." And I was like, "I don't have a sewing machine." And my cousin's reply was like, "Buy one." So 2 days later,
and then write it off on your taxes.
I was sitting in my car. 2 days later, looking, and I ordered a sewing machine. I ordered some fabric. A lot of the fabric that I use comes from Africa. A lot of the patterns are unique. They have some things in the stores here. But one of the things I like about the fabrics that I use to create the masks and the head wraps is they're not common. You don't see them on everyday print, and I do a range of different things. So, it was like totally by accident. This is not what I planned to do.
There are no accidents, my sister. It was divine. This is a point about, that's why I asked you about your spirituality, because, this is possible because of your reclamation of that heritage and culture, which you found now value in this clothing.
Absolutely.
And finding value, now you created a product who other people who find value in our culture and our tradition can now partake in. And on top of that, you're purchasing from the continent, so you're helping the economy. And this is what we're talking about. That it's not just it's not just a thing we're doing. This thing embodies commerce. economics, self-determination, building wealth
absolutely
within our community.
Yeah.
That's why we're embracing the culture and the tradition and the spirituality, because the main people that are going to benefit are us.
Right. Exactly.
Us, this is our thing. So it's only going to benefit us. And that's why we need to invest more in ourselves.
Absolutely.
If you decided to go out there and make suit jackets and suit pants, you're competing against the whole world.
Right.
Yeah,
How many people are going to buy the product?
Exactly.
You're competing against the whole world.
And that's what I thought. I said, you know what? And I said, this is a little different. And I said, everybody's making masks, but people are asking for head wraps. And then people are like, oh, do you make this kind? And then, I can't leave out the brothers. I made some crowns for the brothers.
Handkerchiefs.
Yeah, well, I can.
One of the things, I took a look at Akua Creations on Instagram. I want to make sure that we get that name out there enough during this presentation. Very beautiful fabric. But I didn't pay as close attention to one thing that I see that is needed in the market itself for masks. Not necessarily saying that yours doesn't have it, but for me, I found that most bearded men that I see with beards, cannot find a mask that properly covers their face, or men, and not in an insulting way, tend to have sometimes slightly larger heads than the women and children.
It's true, my God.
So I wanted to point out that's one of the things you want to say if you have those masks. Because for me,
because there are pictures on my. Bob, can you pass me my phone?
Well, we can.
Where is it?
Don't worry about it. No, we don't need to take it. I just want them to know that. And that's why I'm pointing it out.
And I ran into that challenge as well. I was making masks, and I made a mask for a friend. And he tried it on. He said it doesn't fit. And when I looked at his face, I saw why it didn't fit.
Right.
So I went back, and I said, okay, I'm gonna fix it. And I had two of my people from back in the day come to me to order some masks. And what I did when I met with them is I measured them.
Yep.
I measured the men, and I used the measurements as a template for the male mask.
Standard.
And so because of that, I have masks that are specifically for men who may have fuller faces.
And beards.
Beards.
No, that's excellent, because I gifted a lot of masks during the pandemic, and most of the men were having trouble.
It's covering here and here, and this is exposed. But what's supposed to happen is the mask is supposed to cover between your chin and right here. And you also have to accommodate for the size. You don't want an ill-fitting mask.
Right, it's uncomfortable.
Yeah, I saw one of my people. I went to drop off some cake, and I saw he had a mask on, and I'm like, that's too small. And he's like, I know, but I said, all right, I said, but you got to get a bigger one. So he happened to order some cakes from me. And when I'm back, I did a denim mask for him.
Oh, that's nice.
And I because I needed to size it on somebody.
That's excellent.
So but I do stuff like that. And also for the brothers, not only are the masks accommodated to fit a beard. Did you get your mask back?
Yes, I have my mask. I remember when this thing started, I had a beard down to here.
Oh, the mask that I made for you.
Yes, of course. Yes.
Oh, okay. Did it fit?
Yes.
Well, you should need to be helping me.
I what?
You need to be helping me telling people that it fit.
I'm letting you go do your thing before I jump in.
That shot that you gave Peter, I'm not sure that they heard it.
Okay. So like I was saying, I did stuff, I've done stuff, for men. And also, I don't want to leave the brothers out, but I've also made like a lot of men are not going to wear a head wrap unless they have like a lot of locks, and then it's a smaller version. So I've made like a bandana that's large enough to go over some locks. If you don't have locks, you can also rock a bandana. I've done crowns, different things, because I need to have something for the brothers. I don't try not to leave them out.
No, and that's good, because they already feel like they're not appreciated a lot of times in different things, And I get it. So
you want to be
all the fathers, can look forward to getting custom masks and headpieces and whatever else.
They're beautiful. The fabrics are really nice. And we know that it's business within the culture, but in this very pivotal time, this racial climate, there are a lot of people outside the culture that are looking in that want to jump in, and I think that you're poised to take advantage of that.
Absolutely, absolutely. One of the things that Peter was instrumental with assisting me.
Ladies, there's someone in the lobby.
One of the things that Peter was instrumental with assisting me with is continuing to develop the marketing and the branding.
Mm-hmm.
And, we had a conversation about some things that I could do to bring, to improve the brand, which I appreciated. And, we talked about widening the market because this is for us, by us. But if you're not us, you can still come and support us.
Absolutely.
Peter, how you feel about
We would
that?
greatly appreciate your patience.
No, I feel good about it. Business is business, and you're not only you're expanding the acceptance to our culture, but it's making money, and we don't, only foolish people say I'm going to turn down that bag on, based on, yes, you must have morals and principles.
Absolutely.
But if you're running a business, you got to get that bag too.
And one of the things that, when you receive one of my items, you will have a card, and it will break down the significance of the color. It will break down the significance of the different, what they represent in relation to the diaspora.
Mm-hmm.
And that's important so people understand this is not something that came out of Walmart. This is something that's handcrafted.
It's packaged really nice, and when you wear it, you get the we're very spiritual people. You get the vibe of the person that created it, and that's important. That's important. And so, yeah, I really dig her stuff.
Thank you.
Awesome. So as we transition from speaking about Akua Creations, I just want to make sure we talked about the custom confections that you do, and that Instagram is My Cake, which is Where Is My Cake?
Yeah, right. and Bob could tell you about the name. Because before I started selling cakes and everything, I would make something for somebody. I did a lot of samples and I did a lot of free stuff for years, developing my recipes and everything. And I'm self-taught.
Okay.
Pretty much. I took one decorating class years ago when I lived in Jersey. Mm-hmm. But after that, I haven't really taken it. And a lot of it is trial and error and practicing. And Where's My Cake is because before I started selling it, people be like, where my cake? I walk in the Amarachi, Jonathan, where my cake? Where my cake?
I mean, for the past how many years, you're the only person to do my birthday cake. So, that's just, there's only one place I go. And last year was amazing. You had the big Nigerian flag.
Thank you.
Cake all over my face. It was crazy. But not only do the cakes look really good, they're absolutely delicious. You got to get past the beauty, and it's tough because you don't want to start chopping up this piece of
that was one of the biggest challenges.
But once you get beyond that, it's a really good cake.
And that's a good point to make because there are quite a few people who provide a custom cake service. And the cake looks good, but then it tastes like all types of plastic or whatever when not moist, all of that stuff.
And see, I couldn't be that person, and Bob can tell you, some of my other people can tell you, a lot of my tech people, because they've had cakes that I've made for different occasions. Mm-hmm. One thing that I do, I will test a cake. And the funniest thing in the world is to watch me bring a cake somewhere, and people start eating it, and I'm like, how did you like the cake? It's all right. Is it this? Is it to this? Is it to that?
I even remember when I would get a new product in and I would call out like, listen, we got this new liquor in. How about you come try it and see if you can make a cake with it? And we've been able to do stuff like that in the past.
It's his birthday cake. Oh. He gave me some, what is it, $3 rosé vodka.
Oh,
y'all would have had a cake today, but I told you I went through some challenges over the weekend.
That's fine.
But I got you because we here every Thursday.
We here.
Yes, we are.
And my birthday is next weekend, so
That's right, it's yours.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we got, we got another one coming up.
Libra.
First day of Scorpio, brother.
Okay.
That explains it.
First day.
Yeah,
Of
that
Scorpio.
That explains it.
So anyway, I'm not gonna ease my Gemini self out of this.
hey.
But but yeah, it's very important. Like
The
I
gatekeeper to
learned
Scorpio.
with cakes from watching my mom. My mom baked from scratch, and growing up, my mom we never had anything that came out of a box from a bakery. My mom baked everything. Every now and then it was something, but for the most part, my mom was known for her cakes, and I used to watch her make them. And I used to watch what she did. And now when I bake, a lot of times when I'm doing my baking, my mixing, and my decorating, I'm doing them in my living room, dining room area because I have space challenge. But in there is my mom's picture, and my mom watches everything I do, and I credit the way a lot of my cakes turn out to my mom. I'm like, look what we did. I'm like, Mom, look what we did. That picture is right there. And like I said, when I was doing the cake for Jonathan, I felt his presence. Watching me and saying, no, this is the one you're going to use. Yeah, I like that. Don't forget the Kappa.
Don't forget the Kappa. All
that was ordered was a memorial cake. They did not ask me to do a picture cake. They did not give me any instructions. It's the same thing, when Bub ordered his cake. He said, I want a cake. And I said, I'm gonna make it with the rosé vodka. And I don't think we discussed doing the Nigerian flag.
Nah, that was just automatic.
I think as the amount of years that you've interacted and just so people know, you're not like the cake lady off the street. You are part of the family.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? So there's that amount of trust.
She's my griot. She's my great storyteller. You want to sit down, and have a meal and want to listen to a story. You sit down with Miss Olive. She's the griot.
And we talk. And we do. And we share. These stories. And like with the cakes, we could sit here all day, and I could tell you about the first cake that I ever made and how I didn't like it, but that's what launched my business.
Right.
I did the football cake for Sam. I didn't like it. 96 degrees. I didn't have any stabilizer in my buttercream. And when I got here, I had to redecorate the cake again. And I didn't like it, and nobody cared. They tore the cake up.
Yeah. And artists are usually more critical of their own work, and other people are able to accept the item as its natural beauty and consume it. Because we're not tasting to see, does it have this? Does it have the stabilizer? I don't even know what a stabilizer is for your cream.
That's bakery talk. Yeah. But and then one gentleman came and got 4 pieces, and the 5th time he came back, he handed me his business card. He actually it's Roy Brown. No, his name is Mr. Roy Brown, and he works for the Small Business Development Center of New York City. He was like, this cake is so good. He kept coming back because he kept having people try it. And he said, oh, do you have a business? You need to be in business. You should have business cards. You need to call me. So I called him, and he's been working with me to develop my business.
Oh, nice.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, he's been. And
tell him I said at the next virtual meeting they should be purchasing cakes while they're developing business.
And I've brought things I've brought samples down, to his colleagues, and they've helped me, to work on different things, like more of the tech stuff. And at the time, because I work full time, I'm not always able to take advantage of the seminars and the trainings, but everything at the Small Business Development Center is free. They have a lot of online resources. And all of that was because I connected with Bub through Amarachi.
Awesome.
And like I said, this is my personal year of saying yes to opportunities and to and to walk forward and allow the flow of abundance to stay in my life.
So I know people are probably watching and they're asking if you have a vegan version of your cakes. Not yet, still working on it.
I am actually working on a vegan keto version. And I expect to, by the end of the month, that will be something that will be out for people to taste test. I can bring some here if you like.
I'm very controversial in saying, there's some things that just don't need to be vegan. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I mean,
It's sweet.
This.
It got 1,000 calories.
yeah.
It's
No,
got-
I agree.
It can give you baby diabetes. Let's go.
I
Some
agree.
things don't need to be vegan, man.
And if you feel like your sweet tooth is acting up and you want something, I say just go for it. But there's a lot of people that don't think like me and they want that vegan version.
There's some people who have very strict diets.
Yeah.
And a vegan cake will also, from a business perspective, open up a whole new revenue
Absolutely.
stream.
Market. Yeah,
I've
absolutely.
had quite a few people ask me about vegan cupcakes, vegan cakes. Keto is the big thing now.
Well, what's keto? I hear it.
There's no way to make a keto cake.
You want to put some money on that?
No sugar.
Keto is what?
Like the keto steak.
Don't use monk fruit. That is the most disgusting
No.
flavor tasting.
I'm not going to reveal what I'm going to use, but it's
Stevia
not going to
is
be
like
monk fruit.
is the closest.
It's not
but
gonna be
still
monk
nasty.
fruit.
It's still gross. Like I hate.
It won't be monk fruit.
Okay.
But
Anyway, I
will
tried
be
it all.
delicious.
I'm a fat boy. I try to
And
lose weight. I
and
tried
y'all know me. I'm going to find the right mix of ingredients so that it is tasty.
One of our viewers said, vegan cakes, Dad is not with that. Hey, Dad.
But it's okay. I'll still do the listen. I still will make cakes that you look at it and your sugar will rise.
Well, what's so interesting. I have to tell you that I learned a lot this week. Every week we have a show. I end up talking about it with my family. And I'm blessed that both my parents are remarried. Today is my stepmother's birthday. Happy birthday, Gladys. But the reason why I'm thinking of her is because as I started to look through your profile for Where's My Cake, I was speaking to my mother, who told me that my stepmother makes some of the most beautiful cakes by hand. To which I hate the distance because she's in Alabama and I know she's always cooking. But I thought about it in the last 48 hours when I was talking to her. I was like, I'm going to have to call my stepmom and see if we can't get some cakes for sale and enjoy some more revenue. But I happen to know that when I'm home, like you said, you do everything from scratch. And sometimes to me, food that's made from scratch and by hand, that is the most delicious.
Absolutely.
And good tasting food you ever want to have versus the people who are, professionally trained, put a quarter of this, a pinch of that,
You have to feel your way through.
And I think culturally we are really good.
Yeah, and
that.
like I said, I don't do any. I'm not able to I'm so blessed to be a person who's multi-talented, and also additionally blessed to be able to work on each talent. But that's the ancestors. That's not me. That's not me. That's the ancestors working through me. That's their ashe working through me.
And I find, I don't mean to cut you, but one of the reasons why because I love the restaurant business. I love making food, selling it, because I've done that before. But one of the reasons why I really didn't jump in is because when my spirit isn't in what I'm doing, or if I have a vexated spirit for whatever reason, my food tastes like crap when I'm done because it's just not there. And so I never went into it because it how do you get that ingredient? Like you can't substitute that.
Right, and that's why when I get ready to do a cake, I make sure that I have everything. But not only that I have my ingredients and that everything is at room temperature, and I have this, that, and the third. I have to be in the right frame of mind.
Correct.
I don't get up like if a cake is due on a Saturday, I'll get up and do that cake on a Saturday. That is a very rare occurrence.
Right.
I usually start working on the cake 2 and 3 days ahead of time. So yes, y'all are getting 2 and 3 day old cake. And that's because it takes a day because the first you do it in steps.
In steps, right.
You make the cake. And then you have to prepare the cake to be decorated.
Right.
And there are other things that you want to do because you don't want to do a work of art and something beautiful and then you put it in a car or your customer comes to pick it up and then it comes apart as they're traveling. So there are things that I do ahead of time to make sure that not only it looks good and it tastes good, but it makes it from one destination to the other. And I always give people, instructions. and I give them things, to make sure that the box that the cake is in is the correct size.
Oh,
Because
that
it has
is
to be
another thing.
snug. It has to be snug. You don't want it sliding
That's
around.
so funny. My very close friend celebrated her birthday on this past Saturday, and she often purchases custom cakes from Brooklyn, and she's in Long Island. And whenever she calls me and says, "Hey, can you pick up the cake?" I am always terrified because one, I have a sports car. And I drive a stick shift, so it's always herking and jerking.
So you reckless on the road?
Oh yes,
Oh, yeah.
ultimately, I'm a 6
I
feet.
just watch her parking and I know she's
Yeah.
She looks like a lead foot.
I'm a real driver. But my concern is, in going to the boxes, I picked up my friend's birthday cake on Saturday. Beautiful cake, but it was in a box with one side open, with a clear, cling wrap on
But
it.
was it fitted to the cake?
The box?
Yeah. As long as
But how is it fitted if one side of the box is missing?
I don't understand.
Exactly. So it's a box has four corners, right? Four sides.
That's a box.
The fourth side is removed and replaced with cling wrap because the box.
Oh no, that's just for
off.
visual. But it should have been something. I'm not criticizing anything.
No, it is not
It should have been something. No, but I'm saying that it should have been something to make sure that the cake doesn't slide, to hold it.
Right. So when I was driving, I didn't tell my friend this, right? When I was driving, I had to literally keep, and then because I have a sports car, I had bucket seats. So I can't put it in the trunk, right?
I know you didn't put that cake on a bucket seat.
No, it was on the floor. The cupcakes were on the bucket seat, which was terrifying. Because I did take a cake and cupcake.
How many seats do you have in your car?
2.
Oh,
It's a 2-seater.
Is it really?
You got no back seat?
No,
Back seat? You
no.
on the floor?
No, just go tell everybody I have no family, no friends, so I got 2 seats.
Just don't pick. Don't get nothing from me. Don't order nothing from me. Unless you come in.
No, you gotta deliver it. That's all.
Yeah,
either
but the point that I was
have
saying,
one of them come
but the point I was saying you were making about the box was very good because I was traumatized driving 20 miles with that cake on the floor and then watching the box slide.
Oh, but like I said, if you order something, if you ever place an order with me, I got you on all of that.
Yeah, that's good.
I'm not going to, tell what I do, but I got you on all of that.
Secrets are very good.
Yeah.
So I think we've spent a lot of time speaking about Akua Creations, your customized head wraps and masks and things for gentlemen as well. We talked about Where's My Cake. Is there anything else that you would like to talk about? Because what we typically do is the first 45 minutes of the show, we like to make sure that we address everything you like, and then we start talking about some really fun or crazy, exciting topics. All right. But is there anything else that you have going on that you want to let people know?
No, I'm just living life. Like you see, one of my handles on Instagram is Black Girl Living Under a Rock. Right now, I'm just living life.
And that's huge because a lot of people are not.
That's a fact.
Okay, let's set it off.
Especially now.
Sister Olive, are you voting?
Of course, I'm voting.
Who are you voting for?
What was I looking at Peter for? Yes.
I'm not voting for 750.
Who's 750?
Voldemort.
Who? Voldemort?
Orange Voldemort.
That is the first time I've heard that. Voldemort. That's a good one.
He who shall not be named.
He who shall not be named. Got it.
But this is a very, and Peter and I have had these conversations. Bub and I have had these conversations. Donnatella, you and I haven't had these conversations. But I have to, say it. I agree 100% with what Peter says about voting. And partially, and I'm going to tell you why. Right now, neither candidate we have is for us. This is really, literally the lesser of two evils. It's my personal opinion. Lesser of two evils. And if we're going to vote to put somebody in or make it official to put somebody in, because y'all know it's a setup. About the electoral college and all of that. That's why they won't change it, but we're not going to go into that. What I will say is, if you're going to vote for whoever you're going to vote for, You need to understand that we as a people have the largest amount of voting power. Black folks, we have that voting power. We don't use it, which is why they can ping pong with us, and they have throughout the years. Okay, perfect example, and I know you can get ready for the negative comments. President Obama did absolutely nothing for us.
Zero.
Nothing, nada, zilch, zero. And I'm going to tell you why. We elected that man to the office twice, 2 terms, and not once did we collectively as a people go to him with the things that we wanted. Go to him with what we wanted.
Whose fault was that?
No,
Whose fault was that?
Let's say
That is our fault.
But then, so
His fault too, but it's our fault.
No, but if what you're saying is true, and I'm not saying that I agree with it,
Right.
but if you're saying he did nothing for us, then
Okay, let me rephrase that.
No, because
because a lot of people didn't, because we didn't ask collectively. We have the largest amount of buying power on the face of the earth. Okay, anybody out there buying stocks? If you want to really get some stocks and you really want to retire, whatever, Hennessy,
Okay.
car companies, different things like that. You need to.
how is that? But how is that President Obama's? What I don't understand.
Okay, so this is.
I don't even want to talk about Obama because he's not up for
We have
election
to
now.
talk about him. We have
But
to.
why?
And I'm going to tell you why.
Because we
for 8 years, all we did is we walked around high-fiving each other. Oh yeah, we got a black president. We did not utilize him being in that office to our greatest advantage. And as we, come up to this election, and I have to say, we have to do more. My, present company included. If you want somebody to know that you're serious about endorsing them, and if they don't give you at least some of the things, you want to work on things with you so that your life can be better. If circumstances for you are a bit improved, you have to make your demands, and you have to not only make your demands, but you have to do like some constituencies in this state do. You have their support. But if you don't give them what they want, they will not vote for you in the next election, and you'll be a one-term whatever.
Okay, let me ask you a question, Sister.
Yes.
What could Vice President Biden and Kamala Harris do right now to earn your vote?
I'm going to vote, and I tell you, some days I turn off the TV and I'm like, I'm not voting for anybody.
No, I want to know what they can do for you to make you vote for them.
Sit down.
You want them to sit down?
I want them to sit down
With who?
with us.
You don't think they've sat down with us?
Nah, not the right us. They ain't sit down with us.
Who is the right?
Who's the right us? Who's the right us?
The people who are in the trenches working every day. The people who own their own businesses.
That's arguable. They have people on their campaign that are us. His vice president is us. So
no, but see, and I need to know where he stands on some of the issues.
I think you see the political ads. I think he's clear where he stands. He says it clear as day.
Okay,
he's trying to end white supremacy. He's trying to end,
and he's going
an
around
unfair
apologizing. For the last 2 years, he's been apologizing. And when I say apologizing, you've been apologizing for all of those legislation that you passed
So
that
if he,
impacted
let me ask you
men
a
of
question.
color in this country.
If he didn't do that, what would we be saying about him?
I'm sorry?
If he didn't do that, if he's not apologizing, if he's not saying he was wrong, what would we be saying about him?
For one, if you did it, own it.
No, but he's saying he was wrong.
In the day
Apologizing.
You see, that's so unfair because listen. I fight with my wife, and sometimes I'm wrong, and I'll come back and say, "Yo, I was wrong."
But that's just it.
But taking your attitude, she'll never forgive me. She's like, "Nah, nigga, you lying. You apologizing.
No, and exactly.
You just want what you want."
Right, and this is what, and he doesn't want our vote in the end.
Listen, I go by his record. I don't care what he's saying now. It's irrelevant what you need to say
That
to
is
get
not true.
votes. I go by your 47-year history in government, and that doesn't look good when it comes to black people.
So
he can say whatever he wants.
So Peter, so I'm going to ask you the same question. What can Senator Kamala Harris and Joe Biden do to earn your vote?
Nothing.
They can do nothing.
They can do nothing. No.
What can Donald Trump do to earn your vote?
Sit down with someone like he's doing right now.
You're willing to accept something Donald Trump
can do? Yeah, and I'll tell you what.
You see that hypocrisy right now?
No.
You see that hypocrisy right
Wait. What's his record?
It ain't about his record.
What's his record, Bob?
What is his record?
What is wait.
16,000
You always do this. Wait, okay. We're gonna see this.
All of his friends, his cronies, his work.
I'm talking about jail. No. Let me ask a question.
Bankruptcy. He can't even
Bankruptcy. When I go to Olive, let me ask a question. What is his record? What is his record in enacting policy that has had?
Has he even said, "I'm sorry for all the black people that have been killed by police"?
No.
What does he say? He says, "I'm for police."
Answer the question, dog. Negro. You're not answering the question. What is his history in enacting and pushing policy that has had an adverse effect, a negative effect on
he's a law enforcement president is not?
I'm just asking what his history is, and if you can't answer it, just say I can't answer it.
I'm telling you his history. He's a law and order president.
He has not pushed the type of policy.
No.
He has not.
He wants to fund the.
I'm talking about his past history, Bob.
That is his past history.
That's his present history. That's his present history.
You're ignoring the point.
I'm not ignoring you.
The first year he paid. This is from today, so you just have to
Okay.
The budget for police and law enforcement to go up.
So let's say that's right. That's 4 years. That's 4 years compared to 47 years.
You just said.
Okay, so I just wanted to know his history.
What's the difference?
If you start,
It's still history, ain't it?
It is history, but some
puts people at risk. So this week you're diagnosed with COVID.
Donatella, tell me his history of doing that.
His history is horrible. You act like his history is horrible.
But it's only 3 years old.
But you're looking at but you're looking. No, he's not saying that, and I'm not saying that.
That's exactly what he said.
No. Listen.
I never fell off a cliff, brother.
Almost 5 decades.